Good morning and welcome to Mindset Mondays with DTK. This is episode number 184, an ongoing series of live broadcasts designed for folk who have figured out that the real work is getting better at being who you be, because the way to get better at doing what you do is to get better at being who you be. So if you'll take just a moment to click underneath the video and invite your friends, your colleagues, your community to this broadcast. The more folk we have participating, the richer the conversation, as always. Whew. So I'm going back to my favorites, is always going back to either philosophers or psychologists. And the quote I'm playing with this week is, well, look at it this way. If you followed me at all, you know that I've talked about and written or rambled extensively about the idea of possibility versus impossibility, because I know the ugly truth, right? It's this simple. All that you believe to be impossible is so because you believe it to be. Now, on the bright side, whatever you imagine to be possible can be, for exactly the same reason. And that's what the opportunity we're playing with this week. The quote is from Ellen Langer. And we should open ourselves to the impossible and embrace a psychology of possibility. Now, her research has proven that it's often the smallest, subtlest shifts in language that can, and in fact do, make all the difference. So let me take it to the expanded quote so it really resonates. What she said in her publication is, it's important for people to realize that there can be enhanced possibilities for people of all ages and all walks of life. My research has shown using a different word, offering a small choice, or making a subtle change in the physical environment can improve our health and well-being. Small changes can make large differences. So we should open ourselves to the impossible and embrace the psychology of possibility. So let's make it real. I mean, you tell me how this is landing with you, and let's make it real. So, yeah, I'll use one of the ones from her research. As part of her 40 years of research, she and her team worked with first-time mothers during their pregnancy and having them pay attention to their emotional and physical changes during that pregnancy and shifting their language to a more positive frame. Now, they had them give feedback each day to how and what they were feeling. They found that they felt better during the pregnancy and even up to a month after their pregnancy, and that they tended to have healthier newborns than the new mothers who did not. So let's map that over to your world. How about a simple language change? If I accomplish X is categorically different than using the phrase when I accomplish X. The energy of visioning, imagining, planning, collaborating, and executing is more forward. There's more leaning in. There's more of a positive energy, a forward energy, when the end state is spoken about with language like when instead of if. Tim Ferriss loves to ask a question, what if this were easy? And I find that also focusing on the same problem. I think if is a diminisher. So what will this look like when it's easy? I ask that question almost to the exhaustion of my clients and my children. What will this look like when it's easy? When it presupposes an accomplishment. It's go to sales language. It's a trial close. It's giving your brain the opportunity to contemplate it from a place of it being completed. We should open ourselves to the impossible and embrace a psychology of possibility. Try it now. What will your world be like when you accomplish that goal? When you complete that project that you're on? Not if. Agatta says, nothing's impossible. The word itself says, I'm possible. Brilliant quote from Audrey Hepburn. I think it's still, there's an image of that still in the rotation on the header of my website. I think that's been there forever. I'm a huge fan of that idea. Just changing our language drastically changes our perceptions. So start shifting your language to the language of possibility, even when contemplating what you used to imagine that was impossible. Merely by contemplating it through a lens of different language, different context, changes the possibility. So how does your energy change when you play with that language of when versus if? What's different for the people with whom you share your goal? If you say to your team, if we complete this, it's very different than rallying the team around when this is complete. Here's what's possible. Here's what the outcome looks like. Just sharing that goal through a different lens of when we complete this, when we achieve this, when this outcome happens, instead of if. Changes the energy on the receiving end, not just the energy on the delivery end. So that's the simple question. And I like that it's simple, right? That's the simple question. What will embracing possibility change in your world? Now, what comes up as I say that out loud is, man, are you willing to embrace the impossible, to embrace the psychology of possibility? I mean, it's great to ask, what will embracing possibility change in your world? Your first question for yourself should be, man, are you willing? When will you lean into embracing a psychology of possibility? And what will that change in your world? We should open ourselves to the impossible and embrace the psychology of possibility. You know, it's interesting. I'm one of the coach hosts for WBEX, the World Business and Executive Coach Summit. And I'm hosting my first full summit session of this 11th year. And I'm hosting it Thursday morning. And who am I hosting? So I'm hosting Martin Seligman. Oops. Now, you all know him from, he's the father of positive psychology. I had him in 1986, 1987 for my abnormal psychology class at the University of Pennsylvania. And I know that my experience of who he was then versus who he is in the world now is a massive shift from seeing something as impossible to embracing the psychology of possibility. He changed his entire outlook on the world. And not only did he change his outlook on the world, he created a modality around it, which has now got both undergraduate curriculum and a graduate degrees, a Master of Applied Positive Psychology. So the internal work that Martin Seligman did became a body of work that is now shifting psychology and the discipline of psychology. That's the kind of thing that can happen when you open yourself up to the impossible and embrace the psychology of possibility. 35 years ago? Oh my God, 35 years. 35 years ago, do you think he had the faintest idea that it would become a defining body of work in psychology? Don't know. But if he continued to see it as anything less than possible, that wouldn't exist today. So there's the opportunity. I do hate that Langer used the word should. We should open ourselves up to the impossible and embrace the psychology of possibility. There is an invitation to open yourself up to the impossible and embrace the psychology of possibility. And that's the invitation I offer you for this week and going forward, is embrace the psychology of possibility and watch what happens in your world. And I look forward to hearing what does shift, what does change, how your outlook changes, and how the energy of what you're working towards begins to shift as you embrace the psychology of possibility. And share with me. Direct message me, email me, join the Facebook group and share the information there. Share your story, share your successes. Would love to hear more of how this work is showing up in your world. And between now and next week, let me know what mindset you choose.